Yo! Hey guys. Lyrics. How do we construct lyrics? I'm going to do another one on putting together chords and melodies and stuff, most likely. So keep in mind when we talk about this that generally I'll establish the song as in the chords and the melody and the structure of the song before I go back and do the lyrics, which is basically the last thing I do when I write a song. Other than rehearsing it, obviously. So from that premise, let's move forward. So generally, the first thing I do is come up with, I think of it like this. I'm thinking broad strokes. So I'm thinking big concepts. I've got to find some kind of focus for the song. That comes with the title typically, or the line, the hook line in the chorus, this kind of thing. So, what I'm going to do is we'll just use one of the songs I've written in the last couple of years just as an example. So it's called You'll Never Walk Alone, and that was basically the broad stroke I'm talking about, the concept of the song, So everything from there has to be gravitating towards that idea, towards that basic broad concept, yeah? From there, I generally zoom in one level, so I won't necessarily go straight into the lyrics. I'm thinking, right, I've got the first verse to write, and I've got a bridge and a chorus, and I'm trying to think of stepping stones through that verse, bridge, and chorus, or second bridge in this case, whatever you want to call it. Broad stepping stones. So in this case, the first verse, the concept is basically we are all alone. As I move into the bridge, life goes on regardless of that fact. And then as I move into the chorus, I need support, even though you aren't perfect. So I'm then trying to zoom in again from this level and then basically work out the lyrics for each section. But notice how these three concepts all relate back to the main broad stroke of You'll Never Walk Alone. Yeah? So I'm trying to build it step by step and make sense of it. Now, then it doesn't have to be absolutely, literal and direct. Like, you don't have to make absolute sense with lyrics. People generally want universal feelings or universal ideas that everyone will latch on to. That's how, at least, that you'll write a song that appeals to at least a relatively broad amount of people. If it's about really specific incidents in your life, then it's going to be harder for people to relate to than we all feel lonely, we all feel lost, we all feel joy, whatever it is. Yeah. So I tend to write in relatively broad terms so that people can connect with the lyrics very easily. I tend to write from first person perspective, as in I, and rather than you, or about characters, things like that. But when people hear I in songs or we, they tend to put themselves in the first person perspective, so to speak. So that's not necessarily an issue. So from there, if we look at the first verse, basically the way I've constructed this is I do use some rhymes, but I tend to try and keep the rhymes not too painful, as in, they're relatively, sometimes they're looser than others. Sometimes they're a little bit like a semi-rhyme. But you can see here, we take on life with little comfort. No rhyme there. It ages us like wine, or slaughters us like swine. So wine and swine will rhyme there. Just the two words. Cast aside, most of us are. We're born without our feet, facing inevitable defeat. So feet and defeat. And this goes back to we are all alone. Yeah. So I'm basically trying to extrapolate these broad strokes into more detail. Yeah. Now, just to let you know, the reason I've got this website behind us here is this Wiki Rhymer website is very, very useful. So let's say we've got the word wine. We just put wine in there, press return, and it basically gives us a load of pure rhymes So words that are where they have "ein" in, basically. Brine, shrine, shine, wine. This gives you a lot of options, yeah, for concepts and things. One of the hard things in terms of writing lyrics can just be coming up with enough different rhyming words that you can create a unique picture each time you write a new song. Also gives you little combinations of words you might want to use. Make you mine, walk a fine line, this kind of thing. You could just draw some ideas from that. End rhymes, so that's just ein. I'm not really sure how that differs from. Maybe it's because of. Not really sure how that differs from the other rhymes, but also we've got near rhymes here. Dine, pines, rhymes, wines. Basically, assigns, combines. They're rhymes that are a little bit looser, yeah, not quite as pure. Do. And then you've got also further down a list of small words that can also help you. Basically, it gives you a hell of a lot of options. Just typing in one word, look, I've got a long page of different ideas I could draw from. Just to be clear, it's almost impossible. I'm not going to be able to store in my brain all these different combinations, all these different ends. So it's very useful to just have a place I can go to just grab ideas from. Helps speed up the lyric process a lot. And it also helps you basically become more confident with your writing, because you're able to basically draw lots of different ideas that you wouldn't necessarily just come into your mind, without this help, basically. So anytime I got a rhyme that I'm struggling with, sometimes it will just come to me no problem, probably 60-70% of the time. Other times I'll need something, and the rhymes in my head are words either I've already used in the song, or they are rhymes that are just a bit crass, a bit like ugh, that kind of thing. So let's move on. Just want to see if I can pick out some. Yeah, this is a good one. So in the bridge here, so both bridges I've actually got the same broad concept for. Life goes on regardless, and the way I've extrapolated this idea, just to demonstrate the different types of rhymes we can have. So, but life plods on without your blood. So give your pound of flesh, my love. So blood and love, Basically, it's just that one vowel that is bringing those words together. The seeds were sown, your childhood sucked, but now it's time to drink life up. Again, sucked and up. It's just got in, yeah? So a lot of the time, you just need one vowel to latch the two words together. It doesn't need to be anything else. And if you think in those terms, you just need to find a similar vowel. You've got a lot of words you can draw from there, not just in this list, but basically any word with that one vowel in will work. Basically, you can make it work. And maybe you'll emphasize that particular vowel when you sing the lyric, just to emphasize the rhyme. But these are looser rhymes I'm talking about, yeah? So when we think about rhyming, we're thinking about common vowels, firstly, and we can also use tools like WikiRhymer in order to develop more interesting concepts. So this one here, wine and swine, yeah, which is a pig if you're not used to English slang. This particular rhyme I more than likely got from here. Let's have a look. Is it in here? It might be, might not be. Swine there, yeah. Look. So we got it there. It's just a funny word. You wouldn't necessarily come into your head. That certainly wouldn't have just popped into my head. It's a word I rarely use, but it happened to fit perfectly in the song. So this is the kind of help that can really develop your lyric writing a lot. I like some of the concepts in this song. The problem with this song mainly is the broad concepts flit around a bit too much and don't link together as much as I would typically like. But the good parts of the lyrics are these kinds of like dark themes. It ages us like wine or slaughters us like swine. I really liked that. Do you love me deep inside, or will you castrate my pride? Life plods on without your blood, so give your pound of flesh my love. Yeah, it's like dark stuff, man. So I really liked the way I come up with some kind of dark, interesting ideas that aren't typical of pop music in this song. Yeah, the main thing is be creative, express yourself, and I would ideally recommend the lyrics to be the last thing you write with a song. In terms of putting together a great song with a good tune and a good bunch of chords to fit underneath that tune, it's easier to fit the words in at the end than write the words. You see people that write, long pages of words, and then you think, how am I going to fit that into a song? Famous writers that do that or have done that, Bob Dylan's probably the best example. Quite a lot of his songs, I think, he probably wrote all those lyrics out and then just came up with if you listen to the album Blood on the Tracks, that's most of those songs probably were written lyrics first, and then he came up with a motif that loops 5, 6, 7 times, and then basically kind of squished the words in one way or another, maybe edited and trimmed them up here and there to get them to fit. So there are different options, but most writers will do lyrics end and then melody and chords first. Anyway, hope that's helped you guys in regards to writing lyrics, and I will probably do another one talking about how to put chords together and melodies together, maybe analyze one of my songs to show you what I've done, because that's also an interesting idea for a video. I'll see you again. Bye.